Okay, they can hear me. Always a technical difficulty, and now they should be able to hear you.
Oh,
Hello,
hi.
welcome to the VGM for All podcast, Gossip Hour.
Guess we're not really doing too much gossip today. We're doing a deep dive.
We haven't gossiped in a while, to think about it.
Yeah.
We're more like official, legit podcast lately.
Oops, all
The
podcasts.
big time, big leagues.
Now that's what I call podcast 32.
I think we're on
35
35.
even.
35.
So
It's wild.
we've changed a couple things both on the podcast. Updated a bit of the UI. And we got this whole show set up for this week. But we did want to touch on John's Trevor Project charity raffle going on.
Yes.
Yeah, if you have not noticed, because sometimes in the Discord, like, stuff can just pass you by, especially when, like, new channels get added. But the second tab, or the second category of channels at the very top of the Discord is now the Trevor Project Raffle. And if you have not seen it, go check out that tab. You'll see a link where you can donate to the Trevor Project, and every $10 you donate gives you a ticket to the raffle. And we have people adding prizes every couple hours at this point. There's a lot of prizes, and I think we're already raised over $700 for it.
God.
So
Nice. I've heard some secret cool incoming prizes that are going to be added in the coming days.
There's going to be some good stuff, and feel free to donate prizes as well as any monetary donations you want to put forward. And if you have anything you're questionable about, if it's donatable, just shoot us a message and we'll be able to help you out.
Trevor Project is very near and dear to the staff's hearts.
I did happen to notice that the Trevor Project raffle ends on a Tuesday, so maybe we can do something with that if John will allow us to.
John on podcast, maybe? Any
Oh
Johns
my
in
God.
chats? Maybe.
And Air mentioned in the discussion channel for that, like, make sure that, like, it doesn't. I don't think it counts for extra tickets, but employers can match donations, and so that's even more awesome. I mean,
very, very frequently they do that. So if you do make a donation, just double check. No matter what the size, they might very well be down to throw some free money at the very important project that is the Trevor Project.
I guess if someone just hears the Trevor Project and does not know what they do, we could give a little primer on the Trevor Project itself. It is a support charity, kind of supporting LGBTQ youth that just are in crisis, or they need assistance for what have you. It can be a very trying experience being a queer youth, and I think they do great work.
That is for sure.
So check it out. Win some records maybe, and help a good cause. And with that, I guess we can talk a little bit about Mother. And actually, there is something I want to say real quick.
The song by Danzig? Who sings Mother?
I think that's right. But real quick, the midis you're hearing in the background with the loons, this might be one of the few, like, only ways you can hear this song online right now, because it's not online. This is from a very specific CD that we'll get into later, but that still surprises me when I think about it and how difficult it is to find or hear.
World premiere.
World premiere. Of
Bah, 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 bah,
It's getting the
bah.
loon treatment.
exactly.
So, are these pictures that have been on a slideshow going on? Are they just the different variants we're going to be talking about of the Mother
So
soundtrack?
the way I have this podcast set up, there is, I believe, oh my god, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh my god. Okay, so there's 12 different releases for the series that are official. And this is the very first one that was released in 1989. It was only released in Japan through the label CBS Sony. It was supposed to be a worldwide release, but the initial Earthbound game was never released. I don't think it was released in Europe, and it was
No.
not released in North America. It was, I think, like last minute scrapped.
But the album was recorded in Europe, I think,
It
or
was.
most of it.
It was recorded in, I think, in the Abbey Road studio at some point, because it was actually recorded in all kinds of different locations, because I think just about every song that has vocals had like a group from each place. It was a very involved album from the research I was doing on it.
Yeah, and it's strange how I mean, almost all of the tracks are vocal tracks with English lyrics and performers for
Right.
a game that's only came out in Japan.
And fucking, we got this Pico.
Sorry.
Home improvement, baby.
A little home improvement during the podcast, always.
I forgot to shake my wood conditioner, so I had to reclose it.
We've all been there.
I'm just gonna turn that knob down a little bit. So Mother One is mostly a vocal album that they were kind of making it a big deal because it is in entirely English throughout every single song. For this initial release, there is a CD and a tape too. I think there's only like one noted person on Discogs that says they have the tape.
Yeah, I've never seen the tape for sale. I've been looking for it for years.
I had no idea that it even existed.
So, as someone who is not really, I've listened to the Mother 2 soundtrack. I'm not too familiar with Mother 1. You said it's a vocal album?
Mostly, I think what's like 7 out of the however many tracks, 11. It has 11 tracks.
Mm-hmm. I think
Was that
that's
how it was programmed on the Famicom, or is that
No.
like? Okay, yeah, it's kind of like the Dragon Quest symphonic suites, like they're more lush and languid on a physical media format rather than what you hear on the system itself.
I believe it was they composed these, and they did have a difficult time, like making it work on the Famicom. At least that's what Tanaka said, also known as Chip Tanaka
Chippy.
Or Hip Tanaka.
or Hip Tanaka.
Yeah.
I have so much. I've learned so fucking much. Like, Hip Tanaka was like what he went by while he was working at Nintendo.
Yeah.
And it was because he liked hip hop, and he just took the word hip. And then whenever he moved on from like Nintendo, and he works at Creature. What is it? Creature Entertainment. He's the president for them, and he
It's
wanted.
Hirokazu. Then there.
What was that?
Oh,
Yeah.
does he just go by Hirokazu at that
No, he
point?
goes by Chip Tanaka now to
I thought
differentiate his Nintendo period.
I see. I thought Chip Tanaka was just the artist name for his non-video game works, but I didn't know he credits himself as that for other video games.
I think it's awesome how still active he is.
Mhm.
I know he does like DJ sets and stuff in Japan.
Sounds so
Like,
cool.
the guy's awesome.
And like
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
he helped with like hardware for Nintendo. Like
A lot of sound effects, I
Yeah.
think, for a lot of games.
he did he helped with the Mario sound effects from the Super Mario Bros. I think.
Yeah, and Donkey Kong, I think he did the sounds.
He did. And helped with
Those ones that are at the end of Moonshake Donkey Kong Country that are really loud.
Mhm.
That's Chip Tanaka. Chip Tanaka.
But yeah, the last track of the album is also like a medley of a lot of the original Famicom music, like I think pretty much in chronological order. So you get
yeah.
some of the Famicom music on the album too to close it out, and it's a pretty long track.
Because
So
go ahead.
I was gonna say, so Frank, do you prefer like when you listen to that, do you prefer like listening to it as the Famicom music or as the whole vocal and music tracks?
I mean, the last track I feel like is just kind of a bonus thing. Like,
Mhm.
when I'm listening to this album, I'm not even really thinking about that.
I see.
That Carrie reminded me in our chat of the song Pollyanna.
I think I know what you're gonna say.
Because I was just like, why?
That has.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say it has the line "crazy as a loon" in it.
Does it? It does. It does. How have we not thought about this until now?
Seems actually perfect.
I was curious. Why is this song called this? What is this song? Because like the rest of the songs on it kind of makes sense because it's just like, oh, you're just going on an adventure. You're on the Paradise Line. You're whatever's going on kind of makes some sense within the first game's story.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess it's a bigger picture of this. The term Pollyanna used to mean someone that was just like stupidly optimistic from a children's book from 1913. So a Pollyanna would be that optimist, and they took that character, and it's from that character's perspective, and I guess applying it to the game.
So is Paula supposed to be Pollyanna, or isn't
No.
that the name of the daycare?
I don't think so. I think it really is just because it's.
Or that's Polestar.
I think so, and I think that's more of just like kind of coincidence because I always did think it was like Paula, but it's apparently a reference to this book from 1913.
Isn't the back of the jacket art like so cool? I always love
Yeah.
that picture.
I love seeing them reuse it on everything because it's just like this is everything I could want from the game. Like you got the robot, you got your crew at that mountain at the end there, but it's just perfect.
It's very, yeah, 1989, like that very much feels like Western cinema directed to like kids in 1989. It feels evocative of like The Wizard almost, just like the same sort of like child adventure film. And so just the background looks so appropriate for what that game is trying to do.
But it doesn't have the dinosaurs from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
No.
What's the fucking point? Well,
Tell him Large Marge sent you.
we got 11 more to go through, so I'm sure we'll talk about other things. But so I'm going to move on to the next one, which was the 1994 Mother 2 Sony release. I don't have nearly as much thoughts on this one, or as much came up.
So this is like kind of a sampling of the soundtrack, I would say, where like each track is sort of a medley of like 2 or 3 songs that play in like the particular areas in the game.
Is it just a single CD or is it a double CD release?
It's a single CD, and I feel like it's kind of sequenced more like an album than like a soundtrack, or like like it kind of has like a flow to it. What I do enjoy about it because it's kind of like you can kind of relive the game like while you're listening to it.
It's no vocals. It is just the games. You're not getting
Yeah.
anything you're not expecting.
I would say the most unfortunate part about this is, other than the fact that there's a lot of songs it doesn't have, but the fact that like all the tracks, you do get a lot of different songs in it, but it's all very, very brief. Like
It is.
there's no song that really plays for too long before kind of fading into a different one. And most songs presented here aren't even like the full songs at all. I really like some of the medleys. Like they have like a whole like guidance medley where it's like all the different phases of the final battle sort of like flowing into one another. And I really like the way that's arranged. There's also 3 like bonus tracks at the end, which I really dig, which are like almost like super medleys. Like they just like
I love, that's like my favorite part of this. And then it's just like, maybe that's because it actually has the battle music in some of those medleys, whereas battle music's not on it at all.
Yeah, there's one that I think it's the final track that just focuses mainly on the battle themes.
Yeah.
Like I've listened to this album like over and over and over again. I do enjoy the way it's presented, even though it's far from like a definitive, way of listening to the game's music.
It's serviceable. In its CD form from 1994. Well,
yeah, very different from the first one.
Absolutely. I was kind of surprised with the first one. I thought it would just kind of be long chip tunes, and then it's a whole developed album with so much put into it.
I do love a good medley album. I will say that, and like I don't think we really get that all that often in the vinyl format. But it's always so nice to listen to.
I've got a decent album for you, and that's Mother 1+2 from 2003.
It's weird how this is the next one.
I know, it's
like
a
it
big
jumps
jump.
all the way up to that.
Very big leap.
About a 10-year gap, bro.
Right. For the longest time, I thought this was just the first 2 releases, but on one CD. And then I've listened to every single release that we're talking about in the last, 3 days. I am starting to lose my fucking mind. But I found out that this CD wasn't just the same shit, and it's all, new arrangements of every song and more that was on those albums, and they sound great.
yeah, this came out to coincide with the Game Boy Advance compilation of Mother 1 and 2.
Right.
But yeah, it's not the Game Boy Advance music. It's not the Famicom or Super Nintendo music. It's like I don't know how to describe it. Like higher quality digital instrumentation versions, I guess.
Yeah. That's a decent way to put it.
But yeah, it's a neat album. My friend actually, when he took a trip to Japan, picked it up for me,
Okay.
and I kind of thought the same thing as you. Like I knew about it, but I didn't realize it was an arrangement album.
I feel like that kind of rings true for a lot of the Mother series releases. Like, so many of their arts are nondescript, somewhat, especially if you're an English speaker, I suppose. And so, like, you can hardly tell what you're getting into with each of them. I feel like a lot of people have that surprise, especially with like the more like vocal-oriented albums from the Mother series, thinking it's gonna be like the game music or something, or like the console music.
This almost sounds like if these games were released on like a different console, it would have this
Yeah.
music. Like if there was a PC version of Earthbound, like this would be the music.
Because it's like a step above the originals, in a good way. So, if you've seen this or heard about this release, please check it out. Because you'll appreciate hearing new versions of these songs. We're gonna talk about one more release, and then we're gonna bring in someone from our waiting room to talk about, I guess, the Mother series as a whole, or the music, or whatever they want to talk about. We can talk about Morbius if you really want to, but we'll see.
God spare us.
We never know with the Morbius freaks. Is there anything else to really touch on with 1+2? It has Mr. Saturn on it. For me, that's all I could want on an album. So yeah, check it out if you can. Okay. This next one is another, I think, yeah, a CD release again of Mother, with with more included with it. And it's a different label. But is this just another label under Sony?
I think so. It's basically just a remastered version of the 1989 album with like World of Mother track is extended another 6 minutes or so, so it's like a 20-something minute track now. Something like that. I think it's about that long.
Love that picture of Catherine Warwick in the back.
Right, there's a book with pictures of the characters, enemies, Catherine Warwick, who sang Pollyanna. So it has a lot more in-universe things shown with it, as opposed to just, here it is, good luck understanding what's going on here.
And then it also has Smiles and Tears from Mother 2, which was, I guess, a scrapped track from the original, but it made its way into Mother 2. But they put that as a it's like a demo version. That's a bonus track on this release.
I did not pick up on that, so that is neat to know.
And I guess we'll get to it later, much later, because it's like it's like basically the latest release.
Yeah.
But the Japanese vinyl version includes these bonuses on it.
I guess, yeah, we'll touch on those shortly. Let's bring in someone from our waiting room to talk Mother Earthbound with us. Who wants to make that decision?
I mean, we could bring in Caleb. I don't think we've ever actually went into detail with motherfucking Earthbound with him. So
Bring
I
him
feel like
on in.
that would be pretty appropriate.
Bring that man in here. Oh, hey, man, spider.
Man Spider, that name sucks.
I figured you would have saved me until you guys were actually talking about MFE.
No, we're getting weird with it.
That's valid.
Oh, I didn't see MFE on the on the list of stuff. I wasn't sure if we were talking about
Jokes on
official.
you, I forgot to make a thing on the stream thing for it. So we're talking about it now.
I mean,
Dang.
it's a cover album. Whatever. We know how Pico feels about cover albums.
Hey, I said we have to make sure we talk about it. So
And
Thank
then
you.
That's on me. It was that, and was it Boundless? Was that the other cover album?
yeah.
Oh yeah,
because
that's pretty recent.
those are the only two on vinyl.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah. What's your history with the Mother series, Caleb? Let's hear a little.
Honestly,
personal.
not a lot.
Okay.
Believe it or not. So I didn't play any of the games. Until in college I played through maybe half of Earthbound. So probably like 2011, 2012. Didn't touch it again. Then obviously after releasing MFE, I figured I'd probably, if I'm releasing an album, I should probably play the game.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So shortly after that came out, I went back and started it over and played all of Earthbound. So I haven't played Mother, and I haven't played Mother 3 either. But
Oh my god.
yeah, I know, right?
What the
Hashtag fake gamer.
Seriously.
But no, I really enjoyed Earthbound. I've played it once more since, I think 2020. So like yeah, in the middle of the pandemic. No, I mean it's obvious why it's heralded in the way that it is. It's super, I don't know, quirky, fun, enjoyable. Pretty replayable. I mean, granted, I've only played it 2.5 times, but I've enjoyed every time that I've
feel
gone
like
through it.
so many people have started the game and just stopped.
Yeah.
So there's at least
I mean, yeah, that was me.
a quarter or a half for everyone who's likely played this. Like, yeah, I played it and then I didn't, and then I actually played it.
I'm curious what sort of prompted you to play it originally, because I think that's around the time I probably first played the series as well. And, despite the fact that it sort of first popped up, like, in a lot of people's minds, I would say most likely from Melee and Ness being in that game.
Mhm.
I remember there being a really big wave of, Mother fans
Mhm.
in, the early 2010s. And for some reason, I don't know, I feel like every, college-aged, dude was talking about it, at
Was
least that I
that
knew.
was that
That
around
was
when
the
Mother
time
3
when
came
Mother
out?
3.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the
Mhm.
fan translation for Mother 3 was
And when
around that time.
Brawl with Lucas.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Was that? Do you think that was your experience with that, Caleb, or why that came around for you?
No, I don't think so. It was honestly just born out of I had an emulator with a bunch of SNES stuff, and I was just going through the list of things that I had downloaded, and I noticed I had Earthbound downloaded. So I was like, I've never played it. I'm a fairly big RPG fan, even though I'm not a JRPG fan. So yeah, I just kind of on a whim the first time I tried it, because like you'd mentioned, with Ness being in Smash Brothers, that's where I first even
So many.
knew what Earthbound and the Mother series was. It was just because of Ness. And I don't know, just something about it when I was looking through the list of ROMs that I had downloaded. It was just like, I've never played it, and I like RPGs, so let's give it a go.
I felt like so many people online were just talking about it and referencing it and making inspired things in RPG Maker, and like the tentacles of Earthbound are so far.
Yeah. And that's something that I didn't grasp either, or like fully understand until after I had played it in completion. And then after I beat it, and suddenly like I just had this like realization that like, oh, pretty much every RPG has ever come out since the early '90s has pretty much been inspired by this in some way.
It got a little weird.
Well, the Mother series was inspired by mostly by Dragon Quest, I think.
It would make sense.
But it's like a Dragon Quest, but if it took place now, basically.
Right, yeah.
I mean, what game was it really, though?
I mean,
feel like almost every RPG really has its roots there, too.
Yeah.
Appropriately.
I looked this up.
Has its roots on pen and paper, so like...
I looked this up a little bit. Shigesato Itoi? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, that's
okay.
yeah.
He was working with Nintendo briefly, and he pitched this idea of modern RPGs, and Shigeru Miyamoto was like, I think it's a neat idea, but I don't know if we can actually do it. I don't know if you have the abilities to make it work. And I think he said in response to that he felt that was one of his like most helpless feeling moments of just like, can I actually do this? Because he was challenged by like Miyamoto, who was so, as he said, he was like a perfectionist, and he wanted to make this work, and they, I guess, eventually made it work.
Yeah, I mean, arguably, maybe not even until the second one, but
I'd agree with that. The first one's a little too much of everything, and I can't imagine most kids got very far.
It's a little rough around the edges. I feel like the ideas are all there, but they're not the best. They're not. It's super well implemented. Like, I feel like they weren't. The people who made Mother 1 weren't really. Like, they were more storytellers than game designers.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense given Itoi's background is more so like he's a Japanese copywriter, so he works in what was that called? Like marketing stuff, and he kind of became famous throughout Japan and kind of became sort of a comedian writer.
It's sort of strange how well known he is in Japan. Because I guess here he's mostly only we mostly only know him for the Mother series, right?
Correct, as far as I know, and from what I've read.
And I do have to mention he was the father in Totoro.
That's right.
I did not know that. That surprised me. I didn't even believe you when you told me that.
It's really weird. I don't know if he was like best friends with Miyazaki or something. I don't know, but
it is funny when you look him up. He shows up under like Google as a Japanese copywriter.
He also.
I think he got a fishing game too. For Super Nintendo.
Yeah, it's like a self-titled game, I think.
No Suri #1, as well as 2 different Monopoly games.
I love the artwork for that fishing game. It's so amazing.
So back to MFE.
Yes.
I hope Caleb doesn't mind me saying this.
Uh-oh.
I probably don't. I'm sure it's about the leg.
Oh no! I was just gonna say you were showing me some like you were letting me listen to some of it before it came out.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And no, I thought it was really cool. Like as far as like nailing the sort of tone of the soundtracks and just the games in general. Mm-hmm. I thought it did a really good job.
Yeah, Eric is Eric is the drummer from Kirby's Dream Band, who is the one who did all of the instruments, or I should say most of the instruments for MFE. Yeah, he's obviously a super talented dude. One, just to be able to play all of those instruments, and then two, just like the way that he was able to just like stay true and accurately arrange all of the cover, but also do something that's a fresh perspective and not just playing it straight the way that it sounds. And when talking with Eric about this album, I started working with him to get the vinyl going shortly after he had finished recording it. And he had told me one thing that I thought was really cool, which was every single song in that album has one instrument that is unique to that song. Whether it be something like the Speak and Spell, or just like the toy, the Speak and Spell, or just like some really weird shit he plays. A couple songs, no, sorry, one song has like a xylophone, another one has like a guitar of some sort. It's just all over the place, and you said it, Frank. Like he absolutely nailed like the spirit of the game itself.
I was gonna say that sounds very appropriately Earthbound, kind of quirky and a little off kilter in its own way.
Like the games, I mean, it's kind of an emotional roller coaster while you're listening to it. I mean, there's so many different and I feel like maybe people wouldn't think that, judging from the name of it.
Well, yeah, that's definitely true.
Might think it's just like kind of a joke album, but I feel like it's a really, really good arrangement album. Like,
in a lot of ways, I owe that album for being the way that I've approached releasing other cover albums, in the sense that I don't want to release just like a boring cover album or like a predictable cover album. I want to release cover albums that bring something unique and not just like a straight just boring like, oh, here's an orchestra cover, oh, here's this cover, here's that cover. I think
it's very apparent that it was made by a fan of the material.
Yes, yeah, that's definitely true too. I mean, he's actually got a few tattoos from the game too, so he definitely knows his way around it.
A little bit of a fan.
So I've got a question for you. So before or even when the motherfucking Earthbound album came out, you still hadn't completed the game. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
So, being that was the first release, I don't know, is that your first entryway into producing vinyl?
Yep.
Okay, so you never completed the game, and so did the soundtrack stick with you, or was it specifically Eric's work that turned you on to the soundtrack again?
Both. The soundtrack definitely stuck with me from that half attempt I made at the game some years earlier. There's a lot of video games that are like widely acclaimed that I've never played, but I know the music like the back of my hand just because the music is so good. And Earthbound, after I made that half attempt, it was a soundtrack that I had listened to in entirety multiple times, despite never playing the game to completion. So when talking to Eric and getting that very first project on vinyl rolling, hearing his perspective of it, it was definitely like reinvigorated my desire to go back and actually beat the game, just because I was familiar with the music at that point, and hearing his take of it just like brought new life and like reinvigorated my interest in the series as a whole. So that definitely kicked my butt into gear when it came to going back and actually beating it.
Makes sense to try to finish that off after being so involved with it. Well, we have a couple more releases to get through. I appreciate you talking about motherfucking Earthbound with us and coming on again.
Of course. Always happy to be here.
Thank you, Caleb.
Thanks, Caleb.
Yeah, thanks.
Channel 3 official sponsor of this podcast.
That's right. Say bye, Caleb.
Okay, bye everybody.
Bye.
All right. Bye, Caleb.
Some already.
The next release is the MIDI piano version that we've all been listening to together.
So, as a non-listener but a host, I cannot hear it, and I
know.
haven't heard it before.
Oh, that's
So
my picture.
I've heard you
They
and
are yours.
Frank talking about the, I don't know, like esoteric nature of this release and how no one's ever heard it. Is that accurate? Is it like, is it just a very rare release, or what is the?
I think it's pretty damn rare.
Mm-hmm.
I looked so
For
much
some
online
reason.
for this of like any information. I looked up this label. I found one weird like Chrono Cross release. They did a repress maybe of this with like mistakes all over it that like no one has.
Well, Google doesn't even like autofill when
No.
you're searching for it.
Like, but it shows up in like weird spots, being like, oh, and yeah, the MIDI piano version. It's like, what? What? Who's this for?
I was reading on Wikipedia that this Skyport system released a piano book, but it was 10 years earlier than the CD.
Oh,
I don't know.
I guess maybe they use some kind of software in one way for the piano stuff for either the book or this. This is just so weird.
There isn't a arranger that's credited on it.
Okay.
Like, so some guy did consciously make this album. This album wasn't made by a computer, apparently.
That's rough.
Skyport system is such a waste of a good label name that you can't really find anything else about them. Oh, it's such a good name.
Like the autofills I kept doing were just like, what is this? What are
Do you mean
You're not looking
Skyport
for
with
this.
5 Ys?
Right. So, and as far as I don't know if we were, yeah, I said it at the beginning of this. I don't think there's a place to download this online, or you can't find it on YouTube and give it a listen. So you're listening to it now with loon noises over it and all of us talking. I listened to this by myself, and it was so difficult to get through everything.
Yeah, it's basically just the songs boiled down to the simplest form imaginable.
It really is. So, I don't know if there's anything else to really say. It is the Mother 1 and 2 like songs, but as midis. Piano
I really
midis.
wish.
I mean, the one sort of interesting thing about it is that all the way back on the 1989 album, the World of Mother, medley track, the final track, that's on this, but in MIDI piano form.
So weird.
I wish that they had like data on the CD that you could extract the actual MIDI files and just like swap out the instruments as you please. That would be so cool.
That would be awesome.
No, you get piano MIDI, and you enjoy piano MIDI.
But I want trumpet MIDI.
Too fucking bad. Alright, this next release is kind of taking a jump from things because it's a whole different set of stuff. It is Mother 3 Plus. I believe it was, the label is Tokyo Itoi Shigesato Office.
Great graphic design on those covers. Like the I guess that's a slipcase cover with just the Mother 3 Plus on it.
It's a digipack.
Oh, okay, so is that the inside, and then the Lucas and
Klaus.
the pixel art is Klaus. Is that on the front, and then
that's the front, and then the field of flowers and stuff is like that's when it opens up.
What a charming package that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really love that. How Lucas and Klaus just like are jigsaw pieces fitting pixel perfect together. It's so pleasing to the eye.
Yeah, it's such a simple idea, but it is very cool. and fitting.
So 3 Plus was that only released on a CD?
No, it was released on iTunes, I think, as well. But only iTunes?
Yes, I'm seeing that now in the list.
iTunes was big in Japan around this time.
Okay.
What do you think of this album? Because I think this is kind of a weird album, to be honest with you.
Because it's covers by what I think it's a band called, or not?
Like
Is it covers?
Crazy Ken Band or something?
Right. And the first song is oh man, like I was so focused on the other ones that I didn't think about this one enough. The first one's done by like a city pop singer that came back and sung for this song. And it's just the one song on this release.
Yeah, and then like the next few tracks are like live performances. And then you have like some digital instrument arrangements. It's like such a mixed bag of things, but it's a
nice listen.
Album.
Right. But it's just strange.
I did not realize that Taeko Onuki was the vocalist on it, or however you say her name. That's surprising to me. I had just heard it before, but I'd never looked into it. That's very cool.
So
yeah, the Crazy Ken Band, that's what it is. And yeah, it is really cool that she
came on for this song, this album.
Does anyone have
another track she's on too? I think later in the album.
Does anyone have a gauge on what sort of cultural impact the Mother series had in Japan? Because I mean, like when I think of like super important games, think of something like Dragon Quest, obviously, where it like permeates through the culture in like an extreme way.
It's definitely always been more popular there than it has been here.
Right.
So
Sure. With the toys' kind of popularity, it just kind of has. You'd have to imagine it being bigger because it kind of pulls the weight of the game with his celebrity status. Whereas here we're just like, yeah, Earthbound, yeah, Mother.
But yeah, this is a cool album, and I think there's a neat lathe that was made of it.
There's I think like 6 lathes of this, maybe done by a great person. But yeah, it's give it a listen. Similarly, we have another Mother 3 release, Mother 3i, which was released in 2007. And one of the more interesting things that you noted with this was it was released on Napster.
Yeah. And iTunes.
And iTunes. Yes, it's still listed
on the album.
It's still listed on one of their websites as well, that you can find it on Napster. It just goes to like the homepage for me, but that link's still there. I guess Napster's still doing something.
What year was?
I mean, 2007. Yeah,
I feel like
that was
Napster
when
already had its swan song by then.
Right.
Was that
well? Yeah, Napster was trying to go legit then because early 2000s and late 90s they had a thing, and then it got shut down. And I think after popularity of iTunes, a couple of years afterwards, they started trying to get into that. I think like right around the Zune era, so 2007 matches up there.
It would have probably only been on like Napster Japan though.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know how Napster did worldwide, but I know in the US it had like maybe a year tops where it was relevant as a legal streaming service or download service.
What was the sort of the gist or theme of this album? Was it
I would say this album is kind of similar to the Mother 2 one.
Correct. It's like a ton of medleys from Mother 3. So it's kind of what you'd more so expect from like the kind of records we buy nowadays of like it's the game music, but a medley in this instance.
But they're not like GBA sound
Right.
font. It's more like redone, like sort of like the Mother 1 and 2 one that we talked about before.
Mhm.
So it's almost like the Mother 1 and 2 and the Mother 2 like put together.
Mother 1 and 2 plus 2. Mother 5.
And this is a pretty long album. I think it's over an hour, and there's a lot of different songs it goes through.
And Mother 3 it had a different composer from the first two. And he wasn't I don't think he was originally supposed to be the composer, but he was, what's his name? Shogo Sekai?
I know he did Kirby Air Ride, and like he
Okay.
did some of the Super Smash Brothers Melee arrangements.
From what I saw, Tanaka and Suzuki were busy, so they couldn't be a part of it. But also, Itoi wanted someone who knew Mother 3 in and out. So he had Sekai come in, do every single song for the project. Because he knew the material.
And Mother 3 also does recycle some of the same themes from 1 and 2.
Though the love theme, which I also learned about, it was one of the last songs made for it. And Itoi also wanted it to be similar to the 8 Melodies track from Mother 1. In how simple it was. I guess in Japan, he said the 8 Melodies song was so simple you could play it with one finger on a piano, and it was taught to like elementary school students. So he wanted the love theme to be similar in how kids could learn it and play it and know what it was from.
So do you think Itoi was more involved with supervising the Mother 3 soundtrack than the other two?
I would think so. Just with how long Mother 3 took to get out, and this dedication to the soundtrack for 3, and how much of an impact there is in that game, and there's like over 200 songs in that game.
Like it's such an expansive soundtrack. There's like so many battle themes because the battle system has that whole like rhythm based aspect to it.
Right. Yeah, Carrie just mentioned that in the chat. So I'm gonna say 3, and with 1 and 2, Suzuki was like, he was in an established band and like knew what he was doing.
Yeah. He's done a lot of like different arrangements with other bands and things.
Right, and he's not necessarily a game composer. Like he did a couple he composed music for like movies, but I think there's not a ton of other games on what he's done. He did the music for Tokyo Godfathers.
Oh, nice! I didn't even know that. That's a great soundtrack. Score.
Sorry. A score.
Thank you.
Very prestigious #1 podcast ever.
Shogo Sekai did a ton of games though, and a bunch of the, I think as Frank briefly mentioned, a bunch of the arrangements for Melee, as well as Brawl, I believe, including the Mother series arrangements.
Which are such iconic arrangements at
Right.
this point, like especially the Melee ones. Like,
Yeah, that's kind of what
at
you
least
think
for
of
me.
for some people.
Those are the ones that blare through my head all the time.
So real quick, we're kind of wrapping up on Mother 3, and we're gonna talk about the Ship to Shore releases. I think we should bring in another person from our waiting room, talk about Mother and their experiences with the series. Dead chat, thank you. So I'm gonna bring in Carrie, talking to us about the extra damage whenever you do stuff in Mother 3.
Yeah. I have played all 3 of the Mother games.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too. Cause like the first Mother is like not a fun game to play.
Seriously, shout
There's
out to
some
everyone who's beaten the first game, because that is, it's a rough one.
There's some good like fan hacks that do a lot of rebalancing and make it more playable. But
That's what I did. I used one of those hacks.
Need to look into that because
Yeah, I didn't do that.
I
Should have done that. Didn't do that.
Vanilla's rough. Too rough.
It's real rough. Like I got into Earthbound like my freshman year of college. And I think that was roughly the time when like the fan translation for Mother 3 was like almost done and people were really fucking hype about it. So I was like, okay, well, people have told me that I would like Earthbound, so I guess I should play that before I play Mother 3 when that's done. So that's sort of what I did. I played through Earthbound, and then I want to say like 6 months after I was done Earthbound, the Mother 3 translation came out. I played that and I enjoyed it. And then after I did all that, I was like, well, I guess I should play the first one. That was a mistake.
Yeah, I think that's the natural order of playing the game.
It would have been way more of a mistake if you played it first.
This is also true. But yeah, I enjoy the series. I have cosplayed from Earthbound as well as from Mother 3. Many years ago, I cosplayed Kumatora from Mother 3, and I've cosplayed... it was made sort of as a joke. Spoiler alert for Earthbound, but at the end of the game, when the party gets turned into robots in order to like send their souls through time without destroying their bodies,
which is an oddly emotional part.
Very normal thing for a fun-spirited game.
Yeah. So I made robot Ness from the end of Earthbound. The guy I was dating at the time did Porky's like red and black striped suit, so it sort of worked for like an end game cosplay. But yeah, it's fun. I've arranged music from Earthbound. Like,
yeah, I saw you were talking about like you're working on a Pollyanna.
Yeah, so it's not my arrangement that the BGSO is performing this weekend. We're actually doing an adaptation of the Insane in the Rain like jazz cover of Pollyanna.
Okay.
Which is really cool. Our version of it is very, very cool. I'm really excited for it. It'll be the first time I play like guitar for the orchestra release, because I'm playing rhythm guitar rather than bass. So that'll be fun. And then sometime, I guess it was mid-late 2020, I did like what I called the Eagle Land Tour, which was a medley of One It, Tucson, and Fourside.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
A decent amount of cities.
Yeah, I mean, 3 doesn't really have music.
Okay.
3 just kind of has noise.
It has the music when you get rid of all the zombies, right?
Yeah, I couldn't really find like a transcription of that that I liked, and I don't know. I wasn't feeling it. It felt more natural to transition from Tucson right into Fourside. Plus, it was like pushing 5 minutes at that point anyway. So yeah, Earthbound good. What can I
Earthbound's
say?
good. Mother? Alright.
You know, it's like Mother 1 is extremely a game from the mid to late 1980s. I will give it that much.
I will only ever recommend that to people who loved like Mother 3 and Earthbound and just wanted to do the whole thing. I would never say, oh yeah, start there.
No.
You gotta do this.
You're
No.
fucking mine.
I think if the sequels never existed, people would be like, wow, that game for Famicom called Mother, that game's nuts.
Yeah.
I think that's true though. Yeah. I mean, it is nuts. But there's so many good ideas that are in that game that are like properly followed through on in Earthbound.
Right.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring up the fact that like Earthbound almost feels like a redo. Like
it does.
This is the game we meant to make in the first place.
Yeah, basically it's like, okay, cool, well we have the technology now to actually do this game the way we want to do it.
And they had Satoru Iwata programming it.
Yeah.
A guy who knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Even the naming convention kind of gives that impression to some extent.
Yeah.
I mean, finding your way
what's...
around in the first game was pretty difficult.
God, I mean,
the areas are way too open with like very barren, open, random encounters are so frequent. There's so much grinding that's involved that's basically necessary.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those games, and I've done this with a handful of NES games, honestly, where it's like I've played the game and I was like, cool, I did that, finished that.
Yeah.
Not gonna do that again. It's how I feel about Final Fantasy 2.
Okay.
And Zelda 2, honestly.
You can say you did it, and that's that.
Yeah.
I was never able to beat Zelda 2. I still never beat it.
It's not worth it, dude. Straight up not worth it. Don't do it. But yeah, I mean, I think what I've always liked about like the series at large is the music. I've never become like, I feel like Mother as a series is a game that people have really hyper fixated on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether for like, earnest reasons because they really connected with it, which is great, or for like the meme of just complaining at Reggie to please localize Mother 3, which is never going to happen. And I don't know, I've always liked it. I've never felt super compelled to like go back and play it again. I have friends who play Earthbound like once a year, and that's
okay.
That's great for them. I mean, Golden Sun is my game for that. I can sit and play Golden Sun top to bottom in a single 10-hour sitting at this point. And I know people who do that with Earthbound. But the music's always been good. I've always really liked that, like the vocal album for the first Mother that you guys were talking about with Catherine Warwick and whatnot. There's just something really sort of earnest about the way that the songs were written for Mother and for Earthbound, but for Mother especially. Like there's just something really sort of sweet about the music in that game that I like.
The more you listen to it, the more it grows on you too.
It really does. Like the first time I heard it, I was just like, what is this? This is I didn't know there was words to these songs. And then just like the more and more it's just, oh, this is what they wanted somehow into a Famicom, but they went too big on it.
I've always really liked the original 8 melodies. Pollyanna, it really depends on, I think, the arrangement of it. I think the original NES version is like whatever. But I do like that Pollyanna sort of serves as a through line through the entire series too, because the Pollyanna melody, it's heard in Ness's house in Earthbound, and I forget where it's heard
I
in.
love that version of it.
Yeah, I
one-
love
one-
the Super Nintendo version of Pollyanna is lovely. I forget where it's heard in Mother 3 offhand, but I know it shows up again.
It's in it for sure, yeah.
I knew the answer to this like at some point this weekend. But yeah, so many good songs and just they made it work for a whole series.
Yeah, it's good. It's a fun RPG series. I feel like 3 games is great. The way that Mother 3 ends, I feel like there's no need to make anything more after that.
I agree. It was a good send off.
Yeah.
I love the use of samples in Mother 2 or Earthbound also.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I mean that's
yeah.
a whole big thing we could get into.
It's so odd for a Super Nintendo game to have samples like that in it.
Pollyanna plays in the Hall of Memories in Mother 3.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
which
yeah.
is at the end of the game, I think.
Yeah.
Which is a perfect spot for it.
Yeah, for real.
What a great part of that game. Just the whole New Pork City and
Yeah.
everything at the end. So good.
But we have to move on.
Sounds good.
Thank you for coming on, Carrie.
Thanks for having me.
Always appreciate you coming on.
Of course.
Until next time.
See you.
Say bye, Carrie's in chat. I don't know where Pico went. But we are finally getting into vinyl. Oh fuck, that is big. Why is that big?
#1 video game vinyl
No,
podcast.
someone help me.
That is large.
There we go.
It's fine. It's fine.
And I even picked the wrong one.
I was gonna say, I guess
Yeah,
we're skipping.
We're skipping. Nope, we're doing Mother. The Ship to Shore Kickstarter.
What is that print?
Those are various prints that you could get for higher tiers on the Kickstarter.
Oh wow.
Never seen those. Those are
I was gonna
really
say, I
cool.
actually, besides that Paradise Line one, I don't think I've ever seen the other ones.
Is the robot named Eve? The second print was like a $75 above tier, and then like the one with all the characters was like a $125 tier.
Which, those clay models are awesome.
Yeah.
They're
I
so
love
cool.
them so much. I love the fact that, like, when Fangamer did their guidebook for Mother 3, like,
Yeah.
they didn't make clay models for that game, but the Fangamer, like, made them for that book. Like, clay models of all the enemies and characters. I thought that was so cool.
It came out real good on that one. So the Kickstarter version of Mother also came with like a book, right? Like I don't know what's inside of it, but it came with a lot, like that extra book as opposed to all the represses that are out there now. I think Pico, Frank, and Aramis, do you guys have this version?
I have the white version, which
Okay.
was part of the Kickstarter,
A pin.
but
Kauai in Hawaii. In chat says there was also a pin. He thinks.
I didn't participate in this one. It was only for the Mother 2 that I had.
Well, we just found out there was no Kickstarter for that earlier today. Which was
it not?
No.
no. Like, I thought, I was under the impression that there was one too,
were
but I guess
so
I'm just
convinced.
misremembering.
I swear, that's so strange.
And then I started searching and losing my mind. Like, wait, are we just forgetting an entire period of something and not able to find it online?
I could have sworn that it was like Kickstarter for Mother on vinyl, and then like one of the stretch goals was like, we'll do Mother 2 if we make this much money. But no, apparently that was not a thing.
The stretch goals for this were the vinyl release, and then like
Well, the whole thing was a vinyl release, right? I mean, that was the point of the whole thing.
That was the point, to pay for the everything. And then it was like, if we reach a stretch goal, we're gonna sell 1,000 CDs. If we reach 80,000, we'll release 2,000 CDs.
Which they didn't reach
they did
that,
not.
right?
It was like 75,000. So, yeah, I was looking at this Kickstarter for way too long. And I'm just like, I can't read the Kickstarter updates, so I don't know what I'm missing out on, if anything.
I just remember there were a lot of news outlets, like IGN, Destructoid, sites like that, writing articles about this, which is how I learned about it, which is how I got into video game vinyl.
Oh, jeez. The
This
thing that
release
started out.
specifically?
So, thanks, IGN.
It was this release specifically, Frank?
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
because actually I can't really blame IGN. It was because I was I was on Starman.net a lot, the Mother fan site, and I saw it talked about a lot on there. But yeah, and I guess this was what number release for Ship to Shore?
This was, I think, the 4th or 5th thing they did.
And they had done like what, like indie horror, movie
horror,
stuff.
Tiny Tim.
Tiny Tim was before this.
That was their very first release, and then I guess
I know they
we
love
want to do
Tiny
this.
Tim.
Yeah. Then they got ambitious and did this, and it really worked out for them.
Yeah, it probably wasn't. Yeah, they probably didn't start off thinking that they were going to be a video game label, but that is very much where most of their money comes from nowadays.
Right.
They had a weird spattering of releases in their early run. They also did that terrible cult classic film, Mono's Hands of Fate.
Yeah, and they did that kind of experimental band, MX80 Sound. I guess they're not that experimental, but they're a little left of center.
But yeah. Is there anything
And
else?
it was very successful.
But yeah, surprisingly so that they immediately did Mother 2.
Yeah, if you're in talks with I forget who the rights holders are for Mother, because like it's very much Sony. It's very much not Nintendo, despite being
a Nintendo game.
Yeah,
Property,
it's first party Nintendo, yeah, but they don't own the rights.
It's technically second party Nintendo. I mean, like Nintendo published the game, but it was developed by Ape and
yeah, I guess yeah,
and HAL Labs, I guess.
Yeah. So there's something I want to touch on real quick. There's this poster that keeps coming up in the slides up above, and that's a like art print that was included, I believe, with the Kickstarter stuff, but they messed up a variant for Mother 2. How do you guys pronounce like the Gigas?
Gygus. I don't know if that's right. I don't know if it's
no
right.
idea. But there was a variant for that came out not at all how it was supposed to, so they included that in the release, at least for this initial one. Probably for this variant, which I've seen people refer to as the mock pizza variant.
In Japanese, his name is Gigu or Gigu. I'm not sure.
We'll call him Gigu.
So it might actually be Gigas. I'm not sure.
A little too technical. Gigu.
Oh, but yeah, that was a huge disappointment for a lot of people, because like that was a very cool idea for a variant, in my opinion,
it's
especially when like these things weren't common yet. You know,
Yeah.
like it seemed like, oh, that's such a clever idea, you know, to make it the iconic final boss color scheme. And then like it came out like that.
It looks so cool in what they wanted to do, and then like it looks like the coolest variant from the list that we made or someone made.
I feel like they still captured it
Hawaii
pretty
in
well.
Hawaii said Silent Hill 2 is the same. I think it is. Yeah, basically is the same variant.
It was cool to see those kind of inspired variants, because I thought even the NES variant is pretty special and good looking, just like well executed idea for the time.
That grew on me a lot. I remember when I was looking at the colors, I thought colored vinyl in general was kind of tacky back then.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big like vinyl collector yet, but I would always just buy everything on black because I just didn't like colors. But now looking back, I'm like, yeah, these variants are pretty cool. Like the
Wait, how cool would we?
hot spring one. Oh, I don't know. I thought we were gonna get to that later.
Oh no, let's do a little speed run while we're here. I have the tier list. For the variants. If we want, do we want to bring someone in to help us with this, or?
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, for sure. No, wait. I have a question. Did you only do it for Mother 2?
I did, because it
Oh,
was
okay.
such a whim thing that you suggested it. Let's get Lathos. Is that who this? Yeah. Too many
Sorry.
Andersons.
John Anderson voice reveal.
We pulled you in for the tier list, and now you must suffer with us in making big decisions.
Making the entirety of the Discord upset with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, they don't get to be upset is the thing.
All right.
This is an official
Alright,
tier.
this is final word.
Like we got a couple more releases, but we're fitting this into our long episode. All right, I got this is the Barf variant? No, or is this the Belch? If you guys can see it enough.
I think starting with black is a good one right in the middle. Probably
Okay.
could be,
I think
Where
so.
should we
I
put
feel
black?
I feel like
I
it's
think
like
I only have it in black,
Okay.
but I think black is fine because it matches the cover.
It does.
Because
Yeah.
the cover is red and black, and the LPs
Label.
have red and black.
Yeah,
Chat,
that's
feel
true.
free to yell at us and tell us how wrong we are as well. So, where should we put this? D tier,
It
maybe?
I think a solid B.
Black. B for black.
B for black.
I think
Yeah.
so. High B.
and D for black.
Solid B, yeah, because it's not offensive, but it's also like it doesn't.
I know Carrie in the
Super
chat said
rock.
black vinyl sounds the best, but I don't for this this particular thing. I don't think it does because the when Ship to Shore did like future represses, I think all of them sounded better than the initial ones.
All right, I want to do the Gigas variant that does not exist and actually says it on the picture too.
It's an S tier. I think it would have been the best variant.
I think
had
so
it.
I think it looks great. Yeah.
If their mock-up lived up to the expectation, that would have been perfect.
Would have been.
So
140.
wait. I'm sorry. I probably missed why it doesn't exist. Like they just weren't able to replicate it. So what did that variant end up looking like? That was the pizza
Down-
one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Disgusting orange looking one. Apparently, it was because of a miscommunication with
Right.
the plant.
With the pellets. Where should we put mock pizza?
You know what? I don't care if they named it something clever. Put that in D.
Yeah, I
Tier?
think
Yeah, it's
Okay.
pretty
I,
ugly.
I think it was just the worst
It's like
possible
a
execution.
vomit. That's more the barf one. When
The
there's
barf
literally
one
one called barf.
Yeah,
I
the
think
purple
it's this purple.
splatter is
Yeah.
barf. Yeah.
And to be clear, this was like fan dubbed mock pizza. There was never an official.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have ran with it.
I
which is
think
not-
fans also called it the barf variant
Makes
as well as
sense.
the mock. They said they came up with mock pizza to try to sound nicer,
Right. All right. Where's barf? But just purple, blue splatter go. I'm thinking like a C.
none of I feel like an important part of the colors is it has to go with the cover, and almost none of them do.
They do not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it's a C.
I'm seeing C's in chat. I want to hear Lathos.
I think C works.
It's going in C. Belch.
Variant on its own, but yeah, it just doesn't quite fit.
I kind of dig the belch, but I like green, so that's a bias.
Green is my favorite color. Does not work for this.
It contrasts with the red so poorly.
So well.
Yeah.
That's my concern.
It
with
looks so good. C tier.
C or D is.
Lower C.
I think yeah.
All right. I want to go with the pizza variant.
Pizza variant?
Yeah.
All right.
Or no, that's a meteor. Was what this one was. called.
Meteor, yeah. That one's okay.
I like that one a lot, but
I think that might be a B-ish. Lower
I think
B.
B works. Are we gonna have any A's?
I don't know. I'm putting it in a B, but below black.
Yeah, I think so too.
So far, the one that has the highest grade is the one that doesn't
It doesn't
exist.
All right, Mr.
What is
Saturn.
Place.
I know.
Is that the Yeti one?
I think
think?
so. Mr. Saturn Hot Springs was what this one was called.
Oh no, the Mr. Saturn Hot Springs was part of the original Kickstarter. Or no,
Correct.
this was not in the Kickstarter.
Oh,
in the
no.
Kickstarter.
Right, there is no Kickstarter. There is none.
It was part of the original color lineup.
Uh-huh. Oh, I'm
Along
seeing
with-
A votes for this one.
A lot of people like this one, and I kind of grew on it too.
I do
That was
like it.
as well.
Like it, you look close at it. It has a little bit of like marbling
It
on
does.
it. It looks.
Oh man,
Very
yeah, it does,
But if it-
have that
but if
magic camp feeling.
If it wasn't called Mr. Saturn Hot Springs,
Right?
would you like it as much?
That's such a bias for me that
I
I
was
probably
going to
would.
say the same thing. But anything that can evoke the image of Mr. Saturn in my brain was like,
Mhm.
hell yeah.
Fuck yeah. That little dude. A for audience. The pink one goes in A. Okay. Ness variant of blue and yellow.
That one
think-
grew on me a lot
I
too.
think
Same.
that's the only existing S1 in my opinion.
D.
I don't think that particular picture does it a justice, but I
Yeah.
think they look really good, and they feel like it feels like Ness, and I like that.
For me, it's like a B-ish tier, at least above Meteor.
Crushing.
I mean, I like it, but I don't know. So for you, it's like an S.
Oh yeah, it's my favorite.
Okay.
Maybe compensate, put it in
Fans
A.
don't like it. That's surprising to me.
Get it out of here. Me thinking of Ness shirt B,
Hey.
low B, high C.
I can live with the B.
Okay, no.
I could.
I couldn't live with the C.
Alex and Lathos.
I think top of B.
It's definitely not C, and yeah, either A or B.
Alex.
The reason I like it.
Is top of B meteor or is it the black? Like what
above
is
black.
left?
Yeah,
Left is. I'd say it's below
That's how
black.
these lists is the closer to the letters is the higher
Right.
ones.
The reason I like it is because it's the only one that really you can tell exactly what it's supposed to be without reading the name associated with it.
I fuck with
That's
that.
true.
Except for
That's
Baby
true.
Starman or something.
And I feel like both the yellow and the blue are nice,
I'm putting
kind of neutral colors. Like they aren't too overly saturated or anything. So they
Welcome
still
that
kind of
well.
go with the cover.
this chat has put it above the top of V in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of these I'm not even really familiar with.
forget what this
I don't
one's
even
called.
know what that second
I think
is.
that's the Mr. Saturn.
This one I think is like Shadows of Starman.
Yeah, the Ghost
Or
of Starman.
Starman, yeah,
Ghost
yeah.
of Starman.
Yeah.
Starman's the gold and silver.
Right.
Oh, I didn't even realize that's why they're gold and silver.
But this one's
See, that's
the
what I
red
mean.
and
This
black
is the
one.
only one that's
I
like
kind of call it a low C or high D.
I don't
low
like it.
C. Low
I don't
C.
really-
I'm like D tier. This
I
one,
think above
this one-
mock pizza, but yeah,
Right.
I'd say D.
All right, let's go with
Drop it.
regular
Drop it,
Starman.
baby.
I think regular Starman looks pretty nice.
I'm like,
I'd
I think
say
it's cool because there's kind of some gold in the logo, gold and silver in the logo. I think it works off of that.
I think what sucks for vinyl is silver is such a hard color to come across, just because it just a lot of times looks gray, and
yeah.
you know, it's really hard to make that distinguished.
I think that's a
So-
happy low A, personally.
Happy low A. Okay, I put it like.
Let's get,
Is it above or below black in the B tier? In my opinion,
I'd say below, but just like
just
like
by like
ba-
the littlest.
barely. Like if something else was to enter the B tier, I wouldn't put them between
Right.
gold and silver. And
They're
black.
they're
I-
almost the same level.
I also have to say the reason why I like black so much for a release like this is because this album came out in 1994, so
It
vinyl had if it came out on vinyl in 1994, you know it would have been black.
Exactly.
So
Standard.
gives it the feeling of those like 80s Japanese video game vinyl releases.
yeah.
All right. I don't know what this one is.
That's
That one's-
Four-Side.
Absolute
Oh, yes.
D. Put that in D. That is a mess.
I kind of love that it's a mess, though. I was gonna
do
say.
like it a bit.
I
like
was
it
gonna
enough.
say
I like
an
it a C,
low A
a C mess,
because just
but
like
low C.
I love how
What about this is Four-Side? What?
It's
There's-
it's
Yeah,
crazy.
no, there's nothing about it that is Four-Side, but it's just
Hold on. Chat's
What's
coming in
that?
with A
It's
tiers.
supposed to be.
Foreside and Moonside, not just Foreside. But
Okay.
yeah.
So it's bad.
I think the
Chat
one
is-
piece of credit it has is that it's two different variants on the,
Yeah,
2-disc variants.
for sure. Chat's going
that a-
crazy.
Wait, is that a good thing or a bad thing that it's
I
two
think
different
it's-
ones?
Kind of cool. I like
Yeah.
the releases like that, but
Is that-
it does lend itself to the craziness.
Is that green-blue split? Is it translucent? Because it kind of looks like, looking at it on the Discogs, like the green looks a little brighter than that picture, and so I wasn't sure. Like if it was,
It is supposed to be translucent.
Do
I
any-
believe.
okay.
have
Yeah, I
it.
do love it. Yeah, love that
Nice.
translucent.
I say that's easily the tackiest looking variant.
But isn't that sort of suiting for this game?
Uh-huh.
Rank
Yeah.
will not yield.
Well, that's fine.
if
Think about it. The
Yeah.
Mother is very clean, very simplified.
Carrie would just no.
I am all for Frank denigrating this variant, because if that happens, then the price might go down, and I can find a copy of it for a little bit more reasonable price.
All right, I know how to settle this. Lathos, where are we putting this bad boy?
I don't worry.
No pressure.
I'll split the middle. Say top of C.
Opposite.
All right. I'd rather have the mock pizza, but all right.
Oh wow! Oh jeez!
Ghosts
Whoa!
of is definitely better.
It's just chat's. I haven't seen so many A's, except for this one. Everyone's like C's, D's, and then this one comes up. Everyone's like, "Fucking A tier!" Except for
Which one? Which
Carrie
one?
and Joey. For this
Which one?
side, and what is it?
Are most people saying A?
A lot of people were saying A.
I just kind of don't
The Yeti
care
one,
for it either. I don't think that it's worse than mock pizza. I don't think it's that great.
I realize, I think we're missing a variant. There's a red translucent variant.
I think that's true.
Well, wait, is there? Because I know there is for the Mother
Yeah, that
one.
might be for the Kickstarter, which isn't this one.
I'm on the Discogs page, and it's showing a red
I
translucent.
think Lita has that one.
Red.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
one.
like S then.
Even
Red translucent is S.
Red translucent goes in S. Pretend it's
Because
up
that's
here.
the most fitting color.
Mhm.
Purple.
I think purple is also S. I love how that looks.
S.
But
Whoa.
I can dig the purple one.
I like the purple.
Okay, we're getting highs on purples. S. Oh, is that?
I mean,
it's a
it's
Tessie
called the
variant,
Tessie,
right?
yeah.
Right.
This tier list is smoking
That's
crack.
better.
Now that it's Tessie,
Now that
it's got
it's
be
above
S.
Gigas.
See, that's what I mean. You don't know unless you read it.
Yeah.
That's why Ness is clearly the only true S tier.
See, to
Oh
me,
man,
this would go like below gold silver. Which is still good. In
I'm
the
gonna
B
say
tier.
the Nest split should be an A.
I think
I'm
you're
on the
right.
same boat.
I think that makes it a much more balanced tier list. Last B, I'm
Beautiful.
seeing last B, purple gets B. Okay, purple's in B.
And we
all
see that the first 4 variants are all the best ones, and there's some truth to that.
To digress for a second, I just googled Tessie, and there is amazing keycaps for mechanical keyboards of Tessie. They are really awesome. So if you've got a moment, just Google that Tessie Earthbound keycap.
Okay,
It looks so cool.
I'll do it.
Is there so before we save this, is there any reason chat disagrees with this? What do we have anything to change?
I think. Ooh, should we have?
This is very cool. Very clever.
Should we have chat as a collective be able to make one tier difference in a variant?
We know what that would be. We know damn well what that would be.
Up or down one tier, like you all gave to me a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
It looks like Foresight really seems to be
The Foresight. We are not moving Foresight to the top.
No, you can, at best it can be moved to B.
We gotta send this to Shigesato Itoi and let him decide. That would be the definitive answer.
the official.
Joey with the hot take. Foresight gets E tier. Okay. Okay. What I'm getting is they're saying Foresight goes up a tier.
So, when we're all done here, I have a question.
What's
What?
that?
Now, Ship to Shore has confirmed that they're going to repress this yet again, right?
Yes, they have.
But they haven't said, what the variants will be or anything like that, right?
Stop booing us, cause we were listening to you all. I didn't choose this. I'm just trying to let everyone have a say.
But yeah, there's supposed to be a repress on the way.
Okay, so my question is, what variant would you make for this, or what are your predictions for what they will be?
I wouldn't
Or what
doubt
it will be?
a Jeff Blue, or even character centered more than Ness. It's probably obvious.
A la who?
Right. I don't know.
Hmm.
Paula Pink, maybe like translucent pink. White poo.
Yeah, I think the white and black variant would look cool for Pooh.
Like a white with gray splatter. I forget the dog's name.
King.
King, yeah.
Or Ringo, if it's you know the Japanese version has like Beatles names as
I
like
did not.
you know how like when you click don't care and it gives you like
Yeah.
different names. So in the Japanese version, I think like Ness is Paul, like Paula is like Yoko,
Oh.
Jeff is John, like Pooh is George, and then King is Ringo.
Oh my god.
That's so funny. Ringo's king.
I like the PK Rock and Rainbow Splatter from Realm Magus. That would be
Oh,
a
yeah.
neat one. But this is your tier list. This is what we have to live with.
I think even though my favorite opinions on these have not weren't fully realized, I'm happy with the tier list.
This is kind of making me want to buy one again.
I know. I'm like, I need another one, but I'm like, wait, I fucking have this.
Well, now you know the best one to buy.
Oh,
Yeah.
we didn't put the Japanese one, which is clear.
That's for
Now,
Mother
isn't the
Wow.
Japanese one like?
Yeah.
Isn't there a difference in release, like quality or sound track selection? Am I mistaken there?
Well, for I guess we'll get to it soon, right?
Yeah.
If we're still going
Right.
with the releases.
Since we are at an hour and a half mark, we're gonna try to get through this. Hey Lathos, thanks for joining us. Thanks for making hard decisions when no one else could,
It's been a blast.
especially not me. So, thank you so fucking much.
Thanks, Lathos.
Say bye, Lathos, in chat. Okay, let's chug along here. To our next few, I think we have 3 more, so we're almost through here. And this one is the re-release from Sony of the Mother album. This vinyl release doesn't have a Obi strip, so
It does have a hype sticker there. You
It
can see
does.
in the corner.
it's on the back. Oh wait, no, I've been putting mine on backwards. That's on me.
This is definitely easily the definitive version to
Correct.
own.
Hmm.
Okay, so this might be what I was thinking. I thought it was Mother 2, but it's the
There's
original
another
Mother.
one, actually.
So, even though I wish it did have an Obi, it's a kind of unfortunate it doesn't. But everything else about it is way better, because it also has like gold ink on the logo there.
Yeah.
On the cover.
Yeah.
I think the center labels are much better design,
Mm-hmm.
and then it has
yeah,
those extra tracks.
and like the last track is extended by like what, 10 minutes?
It's an entire side, right?
The
Yeah.
whole side of
The
the
whole
release, I
side. So
believe.
that's 23 minutes of the Famicom music, which is
Right.
basically the entire Famicom soundtrack. Because
Oh, wow.
I know people are like wish this release had more of that on it, and now like this
is it.
version does. So
Yeah, it's
So
a
what-
super
what is-
extravagant looking release, and
What did they
Sounds-
sacrifice? Because they are both 2 LPs, right? And you can't just dedicate an entire side to.
I don't think they sacrificed anything. I think the ship to shore one, like side D, just has a lot of dead wax.
Exactly.
Oh, oof, yeah.
But the reason why the ship to shore one doesn't have the extended version is because they licensed the original 1989
Ah,
version, which didn't have that on it, and they had to stick to exactly what that was. So
yeah, that makes sense. Does that have stuff to do with, I know, licensing laws? Like, like they are only able to license what has been physically released in the US? Does that have something to do with it, or
I assume just part of whatever their deal was with Sony Records was like we're releasing the 1989 version of the album as is, and that's it.
Yeah, I guess that applies more to mechanical licensing, what I was thinking. So, but if they were in talks directly with Sony, then that's a whole other thing.
And it was surprising when they announced this version of the re-release of it. Because there have been so many copies of the ship to shore version at this point, it was like, oh wow, they're really gonna make another version.
Right, and like for so many people, it just seemed like, oh, they're just doing another one, without really thinking of the differences between them, which was me included.
Yeah, I'm really happy I picked this up. Because it's a little pricey now. I think you could still maybe find it for under $100, but yeah, it's actually easier to get than the next one. Yeah. Even though there's not as much significantly different about the next one.
And we can move on to that, but there really isn't a lot different. But I think my favorite difference is the labels on the Mother 2, which was released in 2021.
Yeah. So music content wise, it's identical to the Ship to Shore one. That gatefold is awesome too on this version.
How's it different from the Ship to Shore?
I can't tell you exactly how, but it's definitely different.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, because like all the clay models are on the right, whereas it's like a timeline of where you go through the game.
I think the layout is just different. Like I think the Ship to Shore one uses basically the same layout that the CD booklet had, but they redesigned it for this release. They redesigned the back cover too.
And you've been looking for this one and kicking
this
yourself.
one I really want this one. I don't know why I didn't buy it.
Of all the people to not have it.
This one's harder to find than the Mother one, even though it's more recent and there's less of a reason to own it.
I just feel like so many people with this were like, oh, I got a Mother release, I don't need another one. And then like time went on and then it was like, you can't find this anywhere.
And now like we said before, like Ship to Shore is now,
doing more. So
yet again.
And it's just hard to find within the giant pile of Mother releases that are all these red squares that all kind of look the same, but just a little bit different. We have one more, and it's such a divisive release, I'd say, and that's the Mother Music Revisited.
Oh my god, I completely forgot about it. I was gonna say Boundless. Is that what you mean?
No, not no. Boundless isn't quite dividing. So this is the Mother 1 vocal arrangement, but completely sung and done by Kiichi Suzuki.
Yeah.
And some people are like, I don't want to.
Some people do not like this. Yeah.
Kind of got more of a. Go ahead.
I personally like this album a lot.
I do too.
I think they're like some of the new arrangements are very strange compared to the original ones. That's what I like about it.
I mean, the first time I heard it, I was in that camp of like, what the fuck is this? And then like, it kept kind of playing in my head, and I kept listening to it, and then I eventually saw someone selling it. I was like, well, I guess this is the time. And so yeah, this is and this is the composer, or one of the composers that did these, but he wasn't the one singing on it.
That gatefold art is very good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got a pretty different kind of vibe to it.
So there were 3 different releases of it that came out simultaneously, because there was the double vinyl, single CD version, and double CD version. And the double CD version was a must-own for me, because the second disc is the complete Famicom soundtrack, released for the first time on physical media.
I didn't realize that. That's really cool.
So yeah, I basically was more excited to have that than the album itself. But yeah, I take this album.
I do too, and it's very not for everyone, I'd say.
So have we reached the end? Is that?
We have fucking reached the end. And here's the extra pictures I had gotten together. One of them is sideways. I'm sorry.
Everyone turn your heads.
Is that a Catherine Warwick album back then?
I do believe so. And then I think the only other pictures are from Aramis.
Pretty fun.
Hey, that's me, baby.
Was Catherine Warwick like... Okay, I don't know anything about her, but she like... Where did she live?
England?
Did she live in
Someone give me
Japan,
her
or-
address.
Did she lived in England, I guess?
London.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Was she popular in Japan or something, or like how did they decide on?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to find much of her biography.
I'm seeing.
Okay, no. I wish she was 14, so she was probably not known by anyone, I assume.
Probably not. Wow, that was young. You mentioned how the original Mother vocal album, the 2 singers they had were like literal kids. We did not. It was part of like the things I had read, and then, of course, didn't talk about. They had like a whole children's choir for one of the songs too. That like a well-established one.
8 melodies, right?
Yeah,
I miss the era of children's choirs on recorded music.
Bring them back.
Yeah, just reminds me of Peanuts, how they always had children voice acting all the kids' roles rather than...
Which is like I feel like Mother, in a way, was probably at least partially inspired by Peanuts.
I could see that, yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that before, but there is a certain feeling to it. That
Even the character design. Well, I think character design for NES and Super Nintendo video games always had to be like that, where the heads are so much more, so much larger than the bodies, just so that you could see their expressions even a little bit. But
so that's Mother. We've had one person in the waiting room this entire time. So go ahead.
I was gonna say, before we bring Joey in, I just saw that he lost $7,000 in Ernie Bucks in the casino. So I was wondering if we could get some casino promo code for tonight.
You putting me on the spot. Okay. Let me maybe just
I mean, not
no,
7,000 bucks.
Please give me 7,000 Ernie Bucks.
Let me just look at this real quick. Is there someone say things while I set this up?
I love the character Earthbound from Super Slam Melee Brother baseball bat noise. I like that sound effect a lot. That's really cool. Whenever I play against an S player, I'm like, okay, cool, you're really fucking annoying. Yeah, I never played Earthbound. I've picked it up. I've tried playing it about like 4 times. I tried playing it on the Super Nintendo Classic, and now that they've added it to Super Nintendo Virtual Console for Switch, I want to actually play it, but I know it's a bit of an investment, so I've got other things I'm gonna get to first.
Okay.
But yeah.
Use promo code Mother123 over in Ernie's Casino in the Discord to get some Ernie bucks.
Woo! 20 Ernie bucks. Thank you. I'm on my way back.
So that's.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I think that might be it. Oh, wait. Before you say your thing that I hate.
Yeah, I was gonna say something else before that.
Okay, likely story.
I was gonna plug Trevor Project.
Now I'm the asshole.
Yeah. Joey has made a pretty nice contribution to the prizes in the Trevor Project. I mean, there's a lot of people who have, but Joey, you put 4 records.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
yeah, I did. I sure did.
Thank you for that.
Just putting what I can. Yeah, everybody. Just like I love seeing a donation raffle event like this where everybody has like a 20% chance or a 15% chance to get something. I just like seeing everybody get something at all. That's my favorite thing.
I would also real quick like to point everyone to make sure you check the giveaways if you had entered the Bahamut Lagoon raffle. That ended just right before the show started. And yeah, once again thank less grumpy old man takes for that. So
thank you.
Check if you entered that and see if you won. Looks like I see some familiar faces in there.
Where is that? Do we have some names we can read out?
We have DR New Horizons, Spin Spiegel, Prince of Neurosis, Arise of Death, who I believe was in chat.
Yes.
Cody, of course, Vicky Jervis, Dorito Mancer, Chunky Kong, with the excellent user avatar, and Nico.
Not our Nico.
So be on the lookout.
Congrats.
KNEKO.
One little tidbit I wanted to include was Shiggy's Seto Toys blood type is A.
And how'd you find that out?
I googled it.
I just okay.
Because I mean, like, blood type's big in Japan, and that's kind of how that started.
Really?
It is. It is.
I guess yeah. That started all on the Tokimeki Memorial episode. So
Right.
yeah, that tracks for sure.
I remember in a lot of video game manuals, like when it has the characters, it's and like listed, it says their blood types.
Right.
I'm pretty sure for Final Fantasy VII, it has all their blood types in the instruction manual.
It's great.
Luffy has a blood type of F from One Piece. Yeah. Are we wrapping this up?
Yeah, take us away, Joey.
All right, everybody. Big ass haunted mother.
Thank you,
all
everyone.
For
And thank you, Frank, for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much. Next
you.
week, I don't know. I mean, I don't see why we won't, but we'll see. Next week, we're planning on doing tier lists with everyone in chat.
We may also do Among Us.
Right.
Among Us.
And we also are looking to make this a deep dive, a series. I think next week we may, or next month for the 3rd week, we may be attempting the either something with David Wise or Donkey Kong in general.
And a super special guest for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
We got some things lined up.
You have Donkey Kong coming?
Yes! We have Donkey Kong.
Wow.
He prefers to be referred to as Mr. Kong.
Thank you, everyone, again for sticking around.
Yes, thank you for
Thanks a lot.
hanging out with us for this extra long episode. I've lost my mind listening to all these. Thank you for listening to us
Big ass haunted mansion. Bye.
and that. Good night.
Bye.